Coming up on Network Africa, Nigeria digs out of recession. And Kenya opposition leader Raila Odinga threatens to boycott rerun presidential polls if his demands are not met. And the number of hungry and displaced people in South Sudan takes the lead. Welcome to Network Africa. I am Bisi Adebayo. We start with some good news here in Nigeria, where data on the country's gross domestic product released today shows that the economy grew at 0.55% in the second quarter of 2017. This is 2.04% higher than the rate recorded in the corresponding quarter of 2016 and higher by 1.46% from the rate recorded in the preceding quarter. The Statistics Office attributes the economic recovery to the performance of four main economic activities comprising oil, agriculture, manufacturing, and trade. In Nigeria's latest second quarter GDP report has been described as a step in the right direction. This is according to the Statistician General of the Federation, Mr. Yemi Kale. The head of the Statistics Agency was providing facts behind the figures today on Channels Television with an economist, Mr. Bismarck Rewani, of Financial Derivatives Company.
There are three stages. You go into recession, you have to first get out of recession, which is positive growth, and that's anything from 0.0001 whatever percent positive. Then from there you start to recover. My definition of recovery is going back to where you were before the slump, which is basically where you were at 2014 when we started to slow down. Now you have recovered to where your economy was. Then you start to grow, and that means become more sustainable, taking it to more sustainable levels, then you start to grow. So I think there are three levels. I think even though this is very good news, at least we're not contracting, but this is just the first stage. The second stage is to get us to where we were before when contraction started, and then from there go forward.
And joining us to talk more on this is an economist, Ezekiel Adeleye. Thanks for coming on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Now, what do you find in the latest second quarter GDP report that speaks to confidence in the economy as a whole?
Well, this is good news to Nigerians as well as to those who have interest in investing in Nigeria as well. When you look at the statistics shown out today, you will notice that it's a positive figure that has been given, 0.55%. This is quite impressive, because any figure that is in the positive aspect shows that, yes, we are developing, we are moving, and it's a good news to us as Nigerians, definitely.
Now, talking about the good news to us as Nigerians, we just heard the Statistician General say that this is like the first step of getting out of the recession. How would you react to that?
Well, that is true, because if you are just recovering from malaria, the first thing is that you must have been cleared of the parasite. The next thing is recovery. That is, you need to get back to where you were before, because you must have lost some energy, you must have lost some fluid in the system, but whatever now you need to take in form of vitamins will be required to place you back where you were before. The same thing happens to us as Nigerians. We are now coming out of the hills, so we now need to step up on those various positive actions that we have taken to ensure that the inflation rate does not rise again. Inflation rate is still a bit high at 16.05%, but we need to step it down to a single digit. That must be the goal. Secondly, we need to build up the employment rate, because that is what will actually increase the GDP to enable us stay afloat and remain positive. Our foreign reserve at 31 billion is good note as well, and we also need to build up on this. We must not eat with our 10 fingers. We need to also conserve them more and ensure that, yes, we are able to build up our foreign reserve.
Now, the figures we saw today, how does it translate to the common man on the street? Does that mean that if he goes to the market, the price of, a basket of tomato is probably dropped?
Okay. It will take a while before the common man will feel the impact. Just like when you are bitten with malaria parasite, it takes a while as well before you get down of the malaria itself. The same thing applies to this issue of economic figures as well. The sheer good note is that definitely, because of coming out of recession, investors who are in the foreign land will be interested in bringing their hard-earned capital to invest in Nigeria. The more they invest in Nigeria, the more employment that will be provided. And the more employment is provided, the multiplier effect in terms of availability of funds that will circulate. Secondly, when you see that the inflation rate is also coming down, the purchasing power of the common man is equally improved. You will notice that when the exchange rate moved from 290 or so to about 500 naira to $1, prices of everything went up. And what happened? Nigerians were unable to buy basic things that they were able to buy. The sellers were unable to sell, so the turnover decreased, that's the sales decreased. They were unable to sell as much as they were selling before, and the economy was contracting. So that the economy now has been able to regain and be able to record a positive result shows that, yes, we are on the path to growth again, and the masses will feel the impact very soon.
And they want to know how long it's probably going to take for us to, get back to where we'd like to see the economy.
Thank you very much. It depends on us. At times, we load everything on the government. For instance, now when the inflation rate has gone up, exchange rate has gone up, the sellers, that is those who are selling products, react by adjusting their prices. Now, that the exchange rate has come down, today it's about 360 naira to $1. Inflation rate is now about 16.05%. Will Nigerians also respond by reducing their prices? We've heard 2 days ago that the price of oil, the price of fuel now should be about 142 naira 50 kobo. Have they adjusted the pump price to this price? Or the sellers are behaving like Shylock, maximizing their profits and refusing to come down along that percentage? When price increase is done, it's a reaction to inflation and interest rate. But when the interest rate is coming down, the sellers don't adjust that way. So I think we need to appeal to ourselves that, yes, if we truly want to stimulate the economy and increase the turnover, the sellers must equally respond to the positive inflation rate that we are having by reducing the prices as well. By that, we'll be able to have the masses enjoying the benefits very, very soon.
Mr. Ezekiel Adeleye, thank you for coming on Network Africa.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much indeed.